You're in luck. Today you stopped at the right YouTube channel. If you've been struggling growing your own organic vegetables, today I'm going to tell you the secrets to my success. One of the things I do to ensure success is what I refer to and is commonly known as succession planting. I've got Bibb lettuce, escarole, romaine lettuce, butterhead lettuce, fennel. I have more lettuce, beets. So again, one of the things to ensure that I have a successful crop is to make sure I constantly have starts going. Nice bumblebee right behind us over here. These are a Jimmy Nardello pepper. Supposed to be a really good sweet pepper. They'll go in the ground soon. Okay, how am I successful? My fall crop. I started my seeds beginning of August. So that first week of August, I start my seeds. The goal is to, by the 1st of September, that first week, get those starts in the ground. Okay? Now, before I plant those seedlings, I amend my beds. So I cut everything back at the ground. I broad fork each bed. I then put down 2, 3, 4 inches of compost. That compost is organic tree matter that's broken down and gets sifted. I'll put that down, and then I'll put some of the Never Sink Blend organic fertilizer down, and then I'll run my tilther. It's like hand raking, but it's a little machine I have, and it mixes the top 2 layers and incorporates the fertilizer and the compost together. From there, I'll run a gritter that just lays out a pattern on top of my bed that helps me with my spacing, whether it's a 1 row up the center and then interplanting on either side. I'll do that, and then the seedlings go in. Now when I plant my seedlings, I'm inoculating the roots and the soil with a seaweed solution. So it's a product I buy. It's a tablespoon, I believe, per gallon, and I water it in with that. So September 1st this was planted. Today's date is November 29th of 2023. So what do we have? September, October, November. We're 3 months into this. Look at the height. A lot of these tomato plants have been lowered and leaned. This one here was the clip. Last week was near the top of the plant. We're up here now. So I'm going to take this clip. I'll remove it. I'll slide this one down. I was just looking to see which way I'm leaning it. I'll slide this. Sometimes I find it's easier to just unhook it. And then go back up, and then I'll reattach the top one. Now while I'm here, I'm going to get rid of that sucker. All right. There we go. Here's another sucker up here. We'll get rid of that. Okay? Get rid of the suckers. So, we've taken you all the way through from prepping the bed, starting seeds. Then I get into once I start to get plants and they start to bear fruit, where they flower, then bear fruit, I'm starting to fertilize weekly. Now, basically what I've described is what's known as the market garden techniques, right? This is what the farmers that farm under a format or a style of market gardening, again, small plot of land where you do heavy planting, and I'll show you in just a minute. Each row is interplanted with a lot of vegetables in addition to the tomato plants. But again, market garden techniques are being applied. I also purchased a greenhouse. Now, the small greenhouse I did build from scratch, bent all the metal. I wanted something wider, higher, and longer, so I opted to buy a kit. It's a Farmer's Friend. It's a 50 by 16 Gothic Pro. I have it on a 40-foot footprint, which just meant each one of the hoops, instead of being 5 feet every hoop, I went to 4 feet every hoop. Anyway, I think that's another important part of my success, to grow year-round, especially not just in the fall. Last night we had a low of, I think, about 37. Not detrimental. However, being able to close up the greenhouse and protect this growing environment, and it heats up once the sun comes up, this temperature inside the greenhouse rises significantly quicker than if it was wide open. Once that temperature rises up, I open up the greenhouse, which takes several minutes. So that's another key to my success in growing my fall crop, which will be over the winter here in zone 9B. All right, I'm going to go ahead and we'll start taking a look at, I'll show you everything that I have growing. You'll see how much variety I have growing in this small footprint. All right. Come with me, we're going to take a tour here. All right, so if you could see these clips here, right? That's what holds the tomato plants, and they're very easy to lower them down, so they're always at a nice height for working. Look at these. Oh, that's a nice heirloom. Look up here, way up here. We've got fruit forming, and if we come down below, there's even more. It's just thriving inside this greenhouse. Look at how tall those are up there. Almost at the top. I need to lower them down. That's the beauty of this system. Follow this vine. Look at how it goes way over there. As they grow, we continue to slide them and then move the hook up there. All right, we just keep sliding the hooks down. Same with here. All right, it's called a lower and lean. This is a hook, and these are the wickets right here. What else do we have here? Look at this Swiss chard. How good looking is that? Look at these marigolds. Spectacular. Look at those tomatoes. There's more down here. They're starting to ripen. Turn around here. We've got broccoli. Just starting to come on. This is a sweet Carmen pepper. Look at the size of those peppers right there. All right. More broccoli, celery, collard greens, bell peppers. Let's come over to the eggplants. Look at this, in pots. Kale, celery, zucchini, tomatoes, broccoli. Here's the eggplants. Look at all these. Can you see them all? Look at all that. It's amazing. Oh, look at this one. I know what we're having for an appetizer later tonight. All right, what do we have up here? Lettuce, a little bit of shadowing here. Celery, collard greens. Look at the size of these leaves. They're gorgeous. No pest pressure. Bell peppers. Another tomato plant. This was a volunteer. Here's broccoli. This is a Carmen sweet pepper here. Let's see what we have here. Yeah, there's some peppers back in there. Might be hard to see. They're there. Here's more celery, broccoli, kale. This is the Carmen sweet pepper right here. Now, I've got a lot growing here. They're good green, but when they turn red, they're spectacular. More beets, celery. Here's more broccoli. Oh, there's a nice butterfly. Celery on the outside, lettuce on the outside. Here's looking back at the tomato plants. Look at the walls if you look between these two. Now the broccoli. Look at this gorgeous Swiss chard. Look at this. I mean, that's amazing. Here's more. A little bit of pest pressure, right? Not the end of the world. Here's escarole. It's just about near the end, but there's plenty to get off of those bunches. Here's more tomatoes. This is another Black Beauty eggplant right here. Getting some fruit right there. All right, look at these tomatoes here now. Look at that. Look at these. Look at this. Just racks of beautiful red tomatoes. Look at this one. Yeah, let's give this a sample here. Look at these. Look at that. Wow. You're never going to get that flavor from a store-bought tomato. Look at the height. Look at the growth since the last time I adjusted the clip. Tomato was excellent. Here's new growth here. These are a determinate type of tomato. More bushy, but I'm running out of height up here. It's about 6 feet, so I'm starting to lean and lower these. You can see right here, the vine's heading this way. All right, let's see what else is growing on here. Let's take a look at the Birdie's raised garden bed. Broccoli. I just cleaned out a whole bunch of turnips right here, turnips. I just planted some lettuce seedlings. They were like this right here. That's the fennel that was growing in the back. Now that I've removed all of the plant growth up front here, they're now starting to gain in their growth. Here's another tomato plant. Just loaded up. Look at all those tomatoes. Look at all the way up at the top. That's when you know you're doing something right. You're getting racks 5 feet off the ground. This is broccoli rabe. There's some more escarole. These are carrots. Okay, interplanted, we have carrots, more escarole, broccoli. This is a happy rich. You could see, if you look, there's bees right there. These pollinators are getting busy here. I'm gonna let these, there's another one right here. I'm gonna let these go to seed and we'll harvest those seeds. Look at how many bees. If you just focus for a minute, they're all over here. Now, you know, whoops, they're getting busy on the tomato plants. Here's another look down here. You could see there's the lettuce and beets, the carrots, a lot of stuff growing on here. And again, look at the height. Look at how vibrant. Look at the health of these plants. Okay, this is what's happening here. No pesticides. It's about a healthy soil, giving it the right amount of water and food or fertilizer. A lot of different ways you can accomplish that. What I do is I use an organic fertilizer. I start out with a organic Never Sink blend. From there I go to a Harmony, which is chicken manure and other ingredients, but it's organic. I'll use that as a weekly feed. I just broadcast it over, and sometimes I'll take my wire hoe, another bee around here, and I'll just gently mix it in. I want to comment on the bees. You see how many are here, and this is another reason why I'm letting this go to seed. I've got more than enough food growing for my wife and I, and friends and family. But once the honeybees, the bees that are assigned, you got a big butterfly up over there by the Meyer lemon tree. But once the bees that are assigned to go get pollen, they go back to the beehive, and my friend Neil, who's a beekeeper, says they do a dance and they tell the other bees where the pollen's at. And you could see, words out in the bee community, they're all over the place. This is what you want. That's another key to a successful crop, whether it's the spring or fall. Anytime you have those pollinators coming around, that's a great thing. All right, let me just back up a little bit here and give you another view of what this looks like. I mean, look at the walls of tomato plants. And keep in mind, folks, these plants have been lowered and then leaned, most of them. you see the gaps, and they're still all the way up at the top. Okay. All right, so what do we have real quick? It's kale, Swiss chard, collard greens, fennel, beets, carrots, celery, multiple types of lettuces, eggplant, flowers, zinnias, marigolds, escarole, broccoli, the different bell peppers, the Carmen sweet peppers. And as I say, the key, you keep your starts going so that as you harvest out, you can replant. Look, I anticipate at the end of December, I'll be cutting these tomato plants down, removing them, and I'll need a bunch of starts to plant in these rows here before I do a complete bed flip. Look at that marigold plant, all self-seeded or volunteer. I'm also propagating rosemary. I want to ensure I always have rosemary growing. I also have thyme growing. All right, let me give you some final thoughts. You want results like this? It's easy. My wife asked me, how come you didn't start growing 10 years ago like this? My answer, I didn't know any better. I was growing things hydroponically. Okay, so we can get you up to speed in your first crop. When I say you need good compost, fertilizer, you need yourself some starts and some good seeds for anything you're going to direct sow. You want to maintain your weeds. I do that with a wire hoe. I've done lots of videos on this stuff, right? You need a good environment. So each zone's going to be different. You just have to adapt. What grows well in the fall crops? What type of crop do I know I'm going to have to eliminate midway through my fall crop? And then the plan is what goes in the ground right next to where they were. So got to feed your plants, right? Figure out what works for you. I like organic stuff. I'll use either the Neversink, the Garden Tone brand, or I'll use the Harmony. You have to have a way to water, whether it's by hand. I do have drip irrigation, works great. With tomato plants, these leaves, they don't like that moisture, so an overhead irrigation tends not to work well. Speaking of irrigation, the irrigation in the small greenhouse just went on. And you need, again, that environment. So with this greenhouse, if you look around here, there's not a lot of shadowing. The greenhouse film diffuses that sunlight and it fills in the gaps where it might not be getting the best sunlight, and it diffuses it. It disperses it. That's another advantage. Stop it, Gino. And then when the sun is really intense, I have a 30% shade cloth. So again, that's kind of just a quick how I'm successful, how I do it. If you guys have any questions, leave them down below. All right, I hope this video finds everybody well. I hope you all start growing something. You know, back in the day, almost every family, at least a lot of the immigrants that came here, they grew stuff in their own backyard. So they might not have been self-sufficient, but they definitely were growing lots of their own fruits, vegetables. I have fig trees over there, by the way. So again, start growing something. You're not going to regret it. It's very rewarding, and I'll argue it'll add years to your life. So, all right, I'll see you soon. That's how I'll leave it at that. I'll see you soon with an update. Thanks for watching.